President Tinubu departs for France on a private visit. Supreme Court reserves verdicts on Bayelsa and Kogi governorship elections.
By 2020, we had produced the first profit ever for this company, which is 287 billion naira.
NNPC Limited declares 3.2 trillion naira net profit, apologizes to Nigerians over tightness in petrol supply. Supreme Court reserves verdicts on Bayelsa and Kogi governorship elections. Hello and welcome to the news desk at 6 on Nta News24. We are live in Abuja. I am Olajide Bello. President Bola Tinubu has departed Abuja for France on a private trip. The president took off a while ago. An earlier statement by the presidential advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, indicates that the president will return to the country after his brief work stay in France. Committed to end corruption in the ECOWAS region, President Bola Tinubu has called on member countries to ratify and fully implement the ECOWAS protocol against corruption. The Nigerian leader, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, made the call at the opening of the 6th Annual General Assembly of the Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa, NASIWA, held at the ECOWAS Secretariat in Abuja. Also announced Nigeria's donation of an office building for the permanent headquarters in the country. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
The future of our region depends on our ability to create transparent, accountable, and efficient governance structures that serve the interests of our people.
Implementing the ECOWAS protocol on the fight against corruption towards strengthening institutions for regional integration is the reason that brought stakeholders together in the ECOWAS sub-region.
The theme of our assembly also highlights the importance of regional unity, and that is why I would want to join my colleague, the chair of the EFCC, in regretting the absence of our brothers and sisters from Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, and we want to assure them that ECOWAS will always have seats at the table for them, because together we are stronger.
The implementation of the ECOWAS protocol against corruption is not a mere technical exercise. It is a moral imperative that demands utmost dedication and innovative thinking. Our presence here today underscores the importance of collaborative and coordinated efforts in fostering transparency, accountability, and good governance across West Africa sub-region.
Use of technology and digital tools will assist anti-corruption operatives in the onerous task of taming this monster and dismantling the corruption networks. For Senator,
Nigeria, chairing the ECOWAS seat, has restated commitment towards ensuring the fight against corruption through various initiatives, especially the African Continental Free Trade Area Framework.
ECOWAS establishment of NASIWA in 2010 was a visionary step towards creating a united front against the scourge of corruption in our region. It provides a platform for law enforcement collaboration in tackling the common challenge of corruption, which poses serious economic, security, and developmental challenges to the entire West African sub-region.
Let me affirm the commitment of the 10th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to this cause. We remain resolute in our determination to support all efforts aimed at eliminating corruption and financial crimes, thereby paving a way for a brighter and more prosperous future for our people.
15 member countries of the Network of National Anti-Corruption Institutions also here to promote interagency cooperation. develop and harmonize the legal, regulatory and administrative provisions, as well improve on standards governing professional practice within the network. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
The National Assembly is strengthening the capacity of legislature to effectively respond to emerging issues in legislative practice and the polity. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the management of the Assembly is determined to provide support staff with necessary skills to go with digital age.
Increasing expectations from the public on the legislative arm of government due to its vital role in attaining good governance. This capacity-building workshop for staff of the National Assembly aims to empower the workforce to be innovative towards attaining set targets. The clerk to the National Assembly says the reorientation program would instill a sense of patriotism and integrity in line with ongoing reform of the civil service.
I have no doubt that the time and effort invested in this program will yield a positive result.
As public servants, your roles are pivotal in shaping the legislative process and ensuring the policies and decisions made are in the best interest of the National Assembly and Nigeria at large.
This batch of trainees, numbering over 300, covers half of levels 10 to 14.
In these times of change and challenges, it is more important than ever before that we redouble our efforts to deliver the highest standard of service and support to the members of the National Assembly.
Areas of focus at the workshop include legislative administration, report writing, financial regulation, code of conduct, and adapting to a technology-enabled work environment. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tuga says Africa loses $88.6 billion annually to illicit financial flows, equivalent to around 3% of Africa's GDP. The minister was speaking at the 6th Annual General Assembly of the Network of Anti-Corruption Agencies in Africa, where the minister stressed the need for regional and global cooperation in combating corruption. To address corruption that has eroded into the fabric of African institutions, undermining public trust and exacerbating poverty and inequality, the minister cited initiatives such as the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the African Continental Free Trade Area in addressing these challenges. The minister said to address corruption, there is need to close loopholes, enforce regulations, and repatriate stolen assets. Similarly, the Foreign Affairs Minister noted that adopting the United Nations Resolution on Tax Cooperation and the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) will support Africa's efforts in ensuring robust global financial systems and promote good governance, transparency to eliminate safe havens for illicit gotten funds. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited has declared a net profit of 3.2 trillion naira in its 2023 audited accounts. Rolling out the financial highlights tagged Defying Gravity, Chief Financial Officer at NNPC Limited Umar Ajia is optimistic that the company's long-term survival is assured despite misconceptions. Lydia Sampson reports.
With a total asset of over 246 billion naira, a cash and cash equivalent of over 7 billion naira, an interim dividend paid to the tune of over 536 billion naira, plus the final dividends of over 2.1 trillion naira, a net profit margin of 14%, and the operating profit margin of 18%. The Chief Financial Officer says the positive trajectory of the company is in line with the transparency, accountability, performance, excellence agenda of the company.
By 2020, we had produced the first profit ever for this company, which is 287 billion naira. The following year, in 2021, the company's profit grew to 674 billion naira. By the third year, in 2022, the profit jumped to 2.5 trillion naira. Of course, in that year, we also had the JV assets transferred from the corporation to us as part of our take-up assets. Now, in 2023, the profit has also grown by 28%, from 3.5 trillion to 3.297 trillion.
For the board chairman Pius Akinyeluri, the records speaks volumes.
We held our AGM on the 16th of August 2024 and considered the 2023 audited financial statements of the group, which revealed an excellent performance.
Various questions on production costs, meeting OPEC quota, as well as update on Potaka refinery got answers from the relevant executive vice presidents.
There's a slight shortfall from OPEC quota of 51,000 barrels.
And it's about to start producing PMS now. As the crude distillation unit, which is the primary producing unit, is currently working.
On the issue of subsidy, the company says in the last 8 to 9 years, it has not paid subsidy to any marketer. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, Nta News.
The Supreme Court has reserved judgment in appeals emanating from the conduct of Bayelsa and Kogi State governorship elections. Omenka Amarachukwu completes the report.
In the appeal from Bayelsa State, the appellant, Timipre Silva, and the APC pleaded with the court to set aside the judgments of the Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal and the Court of Appeal, which had earlier dismissed their petition. The respondents in the matter, Dointuri, asked the court to dismiss the appeal brought against his election by the governorship candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC in the Bayelsa governorship pool. In another development, the Apex Court has equally reserved judgment in the appeal filed against the tribunal and the appeal court judgments by the candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the Kogi governorship election, Motala Ajaka, to a date that will be communicated to the parties. The Apex Court also declined a request by Ajaka's counsel for the constitution of a full panel to hear and determine his appeal. The two appeals have been heard and to be determined at a later date. In Abuja, Omenka Amarachukwu, Nta News.
And to infrastructure development, Minister of Works Dave Umahi says the federal government is committed to providing needed infrastructure to further enhance the socio-economic life of the people. Timothy Prayer Ohia reports that pursuant to achieving this, the minister noted that the Ministry of Works will closely monitor the execution of all federal road and bridges to be sure the projects are implemented in line with specifications and standard. This was when the minister was on an inspection of the ongoing upgrading of the 15-kilometer section of the East-West Road Section 2 from Port Harcourt, Eleme to Onne Junction in Rivers State. Inspection tour enabled the minister to assess the progress of work done, as the minister emphasized the importance of quality in road construction, noting that substandard work will not be tolerated. He pointed out specific areas of concern and directed the contractors to address them immediately. The Eleme-Onne Road is crucial as it serves as a major route for the transportation of goods and services across the region. This is the news desk at 6 on Nta News24. Do stay with us for more stories after this break.
What is fake news? A false information with no verifiable source presented as true story on media platforms with the sole intention of causing injuries, chaos and disaffection between persons, groups or countries. Fake news facilitates extremism. Fake news creates panic and distrust. Fake news breeds hatred. Fake news kills. Don't joke with it. Don't be in a rush. Verify your sources and facts. It is better late than fake. This message is brought to you by Nta News24.
Thanks for being there. The present administration is determined to upscale investment in the cotton and textile industry through a holistic approach and an inventory of root causes that led to the downturn of the sector hitherto known for its vibrancy. Lydia Sampson reports that guests on Good Morning Nigeria are optimistic of a turnaround if the renewed vigor is patiently pursued.
A diagnostic analysis indicates industry players in the cotton and textile are operating in silos. This is further compounded with challenges around funding, obsolete equipment, and lack of exposure to international markets. The narrative is about to change due to government's vigor and attention to reviving the industry.
Step of reviving this sector is training. Training will give us the opportunity now to have good young men and women to be in the sector.
If we had worked hard, pressed government to make sure our negotiators, trade attaches to European Union, had been able to, navigate Nigeria from the point of standard GSP to the point of GSP plus, which all the indicators Nigeria tick the check boxes, that will give us an instant 12% tariff advantage to import from China, from Turkey, and from all these countries.
The guests, who are key industry players, provide suggestions on the way forward.
So the myriad of challenges has to be looked into for us to come up and for our companies to work with 100% capacity instead of just 20% capacity.
They are unanimous that with more proactive engagement approach, as well as addressing policy shortfalls, Nigeria can harness the vast opportunities in the cotton and textile industry, with tangible results manifesting from next year and beyond. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, Nta News.
A former Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies Abuja and President General Asaba Development Union Worldwide, Professor Epiphany Azinge, has been announced as the 14th Asaba of Asaba. Onyinye Joshua Ifeanyi has the details.
Following the demise of the 13th Asaba of Asaba, Professor Chike Edozien, the onus of bringing forth a new Asaba of Asaba fell on the shoulders of Ubomanta quarter of Asaba, as the kingship stool is zoned traditionally. After a careful selection and evaluation of 10 best qualified sons from the 6 villages that make up Ubomanta quarter, Professor Epiphany Azinge, the Okilolo of Ahaba, emerged best choice. He and other contestants to the throne were further presented to Asaba in council, the highest traditional governing body, for final scrutiny.
By the authority vested in me as the Chamber Asaba, and the authority vested in me under the traditional rulers of Edict of 1979, I pronounce Professor Epiphany Azinge.
Titled men present at the occasion explained the uniqueness and transparency of the selection process.
Our prayer is that he rules longer, he will rule for more than 30 or 40 years. But I have no doubt that he will be a very good Asaba.
By my reckoning all the while, he is the most qualified in all respect to lead Asaba.
Traditional rites heralding his coronation have commenced. Onyinye Joshua Ifeanyi, Nta News.
Nigerian contestants have featured in the final rounds of the 44th King Abdulaziz International Quran Competition in Makkah, Saudi Arabia. Correspondent Tokpe Alabi reports that 109 contestants were drilled by the jury for 6 days.
كم آتيناهم من آية بينة.
Saudi Arabia Ministry of Islamic Affairs, Da'wah and Guidance has concluded the final qualifiers for the King Abdulaziz International Competition for memorization, recitation and interpretation of the Holy Quran in its 44th session after listening to more contestants in the last session of the qualifiers, bringing the total number of those whose recitation were observed to 109 contestants over a period of 6 days.
حقا على المحسنين
واتقوا الله إن
كنتم مؤمنين.
They are the ones who scaled through to the final qualifiers at the Grand Mosque in Mecca out of 174 contestants who participated in the preliminaries from 123 countries.
الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون.
In the meantime, contestants from Nigeria have demonstrated commendable mastery of the Holy Book at the competition, which received a lot of accolades from the jury and the audience.
أفلم يهد لهم كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون يمشون في مساكنهم.
قلت ابن كثير كيف يقرأ؟ فيضاعفه ابن كثير، فيضاعفه ابن عامر، فيضاعفه نافع.
Chairman of the jury, Professor Fahad bin Faraj Al-Juhani, acknowledged the efforts of the custodian of the two holy mosques and the crown prince in the service of Islam and Muslims, especially taking care of the holy book of Allah and honoring its gatekeepers, the Hufaz, as well as for the development projects and expansions in the Grand Mosque. The strength of the competition has been characterized by the quality of reading, mastery of memorization, good performance, and the beauty of the voice, which heralds a promising Quranic generation from different countries of the world.
والمهاجرين في سبيل الله.
هذا ذكر من معي وذكر من قبلي.
Meanwhile, the closing ceremony of the competition will be held on Wednesday, corresponding to 17 Safar 1446 after Hijrah, where the winners of the 5 branches of the competition will be announced and honored with cash prizes of up to 4 million riyals. Talk by Alabi, Nta News.
Now to the latest in the world of sports.
As part of the graduation ceremony of the National Defense College, NDC, cost 32 participants, the college again had its usual sports fiesta, with the commandant's team competing against participants' team in 8 sporting events at the sports complex Agui Rosekantomenj. The event had the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Hennon, as the special guest of honor. While the commandant's team claimed a 2-1 victory over the participants' team in the football event, the participants' team trashed the commandant's team in the tug of war. After results from the volleyball event, long tennis, table tennis and badminton, the participants' team had 70%, while the commandant's team finished with 85% to emerge champions. The special guest of honor appreciates security operatives in Nigeria for their immense contributions to sports development, especially the military, and the college commandant, Rear Admiral Olumiwo Loto, said ensuring total fitness of participants at the NDC is premium.
For us as a country, it continues to indicate the preeminent role that the country's armed forces have always played in terms of Nigeria's sporting history and sporting development. And I think that, if the rest of the country and other sectors of our national life can reflect what they do, I think that sports development in our country will not be where it is.
They've been here for 11 months and they've formed bonds, they've made friends, especially our very wonderful international participants who have come to our country, who have mixed with our people, seen our culture. So I want them to go back with that spirit of friendship and keep those bonds. And for the generality of the participants, I want them all to be worthy ambassadors of the college, to also be worthy ambassadors of this country wherever they find themselves.
For the commandants, one key aspect in the traditions of a military organization and life generally is that of comradeship and making officers be their brothers' keepers.
Now let's take some news from the global scene.
Aid workers working with people who have fled Sudan to neighboring Chad have sounded the alarm over a worsening humanitarian situation in the Darfur region of Sudan, where war has created conditions approaching famine. Most recently, fighters from Sudan's paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, rampaged through a central village, looting, burning and killing at least 85 people, including women, children, and authorities and residents said it's the latest atrocity in the country's 18 months devastating conflict. Sudan's foreign ministry in a statement said the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces began attacking Galgani in the central province of Sena late in July. And last week, RSF fighters indiscriminately opened fire on the village's unarmed residents after they resisted attempts to abduct and sexually assault women and girls, as more than 150 villagers were wounded. The RSF has been repeatedly accused of massacres, rapes, and other gross violations across the country since the war started in April last year, when simmering tensions between the country's military and the group exploded into open fighting in the capital Khartoum and elsewhere. Both sides have traded accusations of attacking civilians and obstructing aid since the country's war started in April 2023. The nation was plunged into chaos last year when tensions between the military and the RSF turned into open fighting in the capital Khartoum before spreading across the country. Meanwhile, diplomats from the United States, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, the African Union, and the United Nations have been trying to restart talks aimed at calming the fighting, but the country's military has boycotted the events, and the RSF sent a delegation to Geneva but didn't take part in the meeting.
We are out in great numbers, but we got a lot of work to do. And this is going to be hard work, but I know we like hard work. Now,
elsewhere, the United States Vice President Kamala Harris is leading former President Donald Trump as she prepares for her headline moments at the Democratic National Convention, opinion polling shows. On the evening of the convention in Chicago, Harris holds a leading of between 3 and 6% points in the race for the White House, two opinion polls showed on Sunday. Harris is ahead of Trump by 49 to 45% among registered voters and 51 to 45% among likely voters in a two-way race, according to an ABC News Washington poll, Ipsos poll. In a five-way race that includes Robert F. Kennedy, Cornel West, and Jill Stein, Harris leads Trump 47 to 44% among registered voters and 49 to 45% among likely voters. In a CBS News poll, Harris is 3 points ahead nationally, leading Trump 51 to 48%. In the 7 battleground states considered pivotal to the outcome of the election, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina, Harris and Trump are tied 50-50.
And that's the news desk at 6 and Nta News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Olajide Bello.